After World War II, the global power dynamics forced many nations to choose sides. While most countries aligned with the British Empire against Hitler, Iran's Shah chose to support Nazi Germany. This angered the British, who invaded Iran and forced the Shah to surrender. To maintain their influence, they installed his 22-year-old son, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, a loyal puppet of the British, as the new monarch. Inspired by the West, the new Shah aimed to modernize Iran by distancing it from Islamic traditions. He banned the hijab, shut down madrasas and mosques, and promoted alcohol, parties, and Western attire. Iran soon became one of the world's largest alcohol exporters. The Shah believed he was building a progressive nation, even mocking Saudi Arabia's King Faisal for clinging to tradition. Ironically, modern-day Saudi Arabia now urges Iran to adopt liberal values, a reversal of history. This rapid secularization enraged Iran's Islamic scholars. One of the most prominent voices of dissent was Ayatollah Khomeini. He criticized the Shah's actions and gained a following. As resistance grew, Khomeini was arrested and exiled to Iraq. From exile, he continued to influence Iranians by secretly distributing his speeches recorded on cassettes. His message resonated so strongly that he began to eclipse the Shah in popularity. Despite his exile, Khomeini's influence grew. Saddam Hussein, Iraq's rising leader, was concerned and offered to assassinate Khomeini, but the Shah declined, underestimating him. Meanwhile, Iranians continued to rally behind Khomeini. The Shah, with U.S. backing and a strong military, felt secure, but his greatest mistake was yet to come. In a show of extravagance, the Shah hosted the world's most expensive party to celebrate the revival of the Persian Empire. He built an entire city in the desert, imported 600 limousines, served food on gold plates, and declared himself the new emperor of a revived empire. While he reveled in luxury, ordinary Iranians were struggling with basic needs. This growing divide fueled support for Khomeini, who labeled the Shah the Yazid of modern times. As Khomeini's influence swelled, the Shah's fear intensified. He sought help from Western powers, but in a historic moment, leaders from the US, France, and others informed him that no one could protect him from Khomeini anymore. Realizing his fall was imminent, the Shah fled Iran in exile. After 14 years, Khomeini returned to Iran to a hero's welcome. Over 7 million people gathered, the largest crowd ever for any leader in recorded history. Upon his return, chants of "Death to America" and "Death to Israel" echoed throughout Iran for the first time. Soon after, revolutionaries stormed the U.S. embassy and held American diplomats hostage, demanding the return of the Shah. This event marked the beginning of the U.S. Iran hostility. Following the Shah's death, his son declared himself the rightful heir, but Iran had changed. Khomeini had established an Islamic republic. But nearby, Iraq also had a new leader, Saddam Hussein, who saw Khomeini as a threat. Khomeini's sermons encouraged Muslims globally to rise against their own tyrannical rulers, alarming the Arab world. Prompted by the US and Gulf allies, Saddam launched a full-scale war against Iran in 1980. This brutal conflict lasted 8 years, costing millions of lives. Despite global backing for Iraq, Saddam failed to overthrow Khomeini. The war ended in a stalemate, but its scars remained. Not long after, Ayatollah Khomeini passed away. Over 10 million people attended his funeral, the largest funeral gathering in human history. After Khomeini's death, Iran's clerics selected his protégé, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, as the new supreme leader. With Iraq defeated, Iran realized its survival against future threats, especially from Israel and the US, would depend on developing a nuclear deterrent. Iran began developing nuclear infrastructure, but it lacked advanced technology. That's when Pakistan, the first Islamic country to develop a nuclear bomb, became a key player. Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan secretly shared centrifuge technology with Iran. These machines, similar to washing machines, spin uranium. At low levels, 5%, it generates electricity. At high levels, 90%, it becomes weapons grade. Using Pakistan's blueprint, Iran rapidly built nuclear facilities. But the US soon caught wind. While the US tolerated Pakistan's nuclear bomb due to their alliance, Iran was another story. Washington declared Iran an axis of evil, alongside Iraq and North Korea. After invading Iraq and toppling Saddam based on false WMB claims, the US turned its gaze to Iran. At that time, US forces were stationed in both Iraq and Afghanistan, effectively surrounding Iran. The world waited for America to strike. In a surprising move, Khomeini issued a fatwa declaring nuclear weapons haram, forbidden in Islam. He argued that Islam prohibits harming civilians, women, children, or even trees during war. Therefore, nuclear weapons, which cause mass destruction indiscriminately, were un-Islamic. He opened Iran's doors for inspection, claiming they had no intention to build an atomic bomb. UN inspections revealed Iran's nuclear plants were modeled after Pakistan's, confirming the technology exchange. Under pressure, Abdul Qadir Khan admitted on TV that he helped Iran, and Pakistan placed him under house arrest to appease the West. Despite Khomeini's fatwa, suspicions persisted. A relative of Khomeini, Mahmoud Moradkhani, claimed the fatwa was a lie and a strategy to protect Iran's nuclear ambitions under the Islamic concept of taqiyya, justifiable lying to save lives. This reignited Western mistrust, and in 2009, the US imposed crippling sanctions on Iran, devastating its economy. US sanctions tanked Iran's oil-based economy. Even friendly nations like Pakistan avoided buying Iranian gas, fearing American backlash. Only China, Russia, and India maintained economic ties. Iran's leadership, desperate to revive its economy, entered negotiations with US President Barack Obama, resulting in a historic nuclear deal. Under the deal, Iran would halt its nuclear weapons development in exchange for sanction relief. The Iranian economy began to recover. But Donald Trump, backed by pro-Israel lobbyists, fiercely opposed the deal. After becoming president, Trump withdrew from the agreement and reimposed sanctions, crippling Iran once again. Iran resumed its nuclear program. In response, Trump ordered a drone strike that killed Iranian military chief Qassem Soleimani, a national hero. His assassination outraged the Iranian public. In the elections that followed, hardliner Ebrahim Raisi became president. A staunch anti-American, Raisi vowed to continue nuclear development and support anti-Israel groups. Under Raisi, Iran's support for Hamas and Hezbollah intensified. Tensions with Israel escalated. But leaders who challenge the US and Israel openly often meet mysterious ends. Raisi died in a helicopter crash, which many Iranians suspect wasn't an accident. In the aftermath, Iranians elected a moderate leader, a stark contrast to Raisi. The new president reaffirmed Iran's commitment to Khomeini's fatwa and showed willingness to negotiate with the West again. But Israel ramped up covert operations, assassinating top Iranian scientists and advisors involved in diplomacy. Their goal was to provoke Iran into retaliation, giving the US a reason to invade. Meanwhile, claims that Iran is just a month away from a bomb continue, the same claims made for the past 25 years. The battle now isn't just about nukes, it's about control, dominance, and survival. And in this complex game of power, Iran, Israel, and the US remain locked in a dangerous standoff that continues to shape Middle Eastern and global politics.